how we came to be happy again.
Hey vinyl community, Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and we started the month of October, so I thought I'd share with you the records I've accumulated in the preceding month of September. So first of all, what are we listening to? Got Santana, Caravanserai, don't know how to pronounce it. Great album. Had it when I was 15, bought it, I remember. My brother looked at the records I got, looked at this one and said, oh, you want that spacey stuff or something like that. Some comment along those lines, I don't know. But love Carlos Santana's guitar. Okay, so I have a few that I picked up new, and not many. I don't usually buy many new records, but I do buy some. And I've got I'm always in search of local to my state, my community, North Carolina, surrounding area, local regional artists, things like that. So I got one that's kind of expensive, used, that kind of meets that criteria. And then I got not right many more I'll show you. Okay, first of all, this is the one I really love. I've got most of Bobby Gentry stuff, but I could never find Delta Sweetie, or Performs Delta Sweetie as it's technically labeled on here, from Bobby Gentry. So I went ahead and bought it new on Amazon. Not a real expensive, $22, $20, something like that. Really good album. This is remastered from the stereo mix, and just love Bobby Gentry. This is her follow-up to Ode to Billy Joe, which I consider Ode to Billy Joe one of the great classic albums of all time. And this is extremely well done. She still had artistic control when she did this one, and the instrumentation is a little more elaborate on this one. Highly recommend. Very good. It's a 2020 release. And this is a Billy Strings album I purchased from his website. Normally, you can only find this as a CD or digital download, or I don't know, probably is Apple and all that stuff digital download. I don't know, but he's put some out on vinyl, and I already had the CD, but I really wanted this on vinyl. I don't appreciate music nearly as much on CD or downloaded as I do the vinyl mixes. The opportunity to listen to something on vinyl. This is Turmoil in Tinfoil, a great album that mixes newgrass, bluegrass, flat picking guitar music, just a great acoustic music from the great Billy Strings and Band. You know, technically Billy Strings is not really his name, but that's just what everybody calls him. So that's kind of the band's name too. And here is what I was looking for. I ended up having to pay about $40 for this once shipping and taxes and everything. This is Tobacco A Go-Go. This is Volume 2. This one's called 60s Carolina Psychedelia. And it is basically garage band music from bands from Charlotte to Wilmington and everywhere in between. I believe there's one or two South Carolina bands on here as well. But just a collection of 60s old 40 guys searched out 45s from the bands in the 60s that played around here. So I love this stuff. Just love it. Okay, and I have a table at a antique shop in my hometown of Lillington, and at that table I've got maybe 600-700 records sitting out there for sale. Stuff I have duplicates of, stuff I just know I'm not going to listen to anymore, stuff I've just picked up when I bought somebody's collection, you know, the stuff that I'm not going to listen to, basically. And they have a once a month flea market there where vendors come in and set up outside. And Gella at Super Stuff Records out of Garner, North Carolina, he came in and set up outside that day. And I went over and we had talked before and everything. I traded him some 45s and some cash for 4 records that he had. So here are the things I got from him. Max Roach and Clifford Brown, the Hood, right here. I'm no jazz expert at all. This is on Mainstream Records. It's in mono, and it's a gatefold. But I know Max Roach is and Clifford Brown, very good jazz musicians. Max Roach being drummer, percussionist, and so I thought that would be a good addition to my collection. And I like Leo Cocky, and here is Balance from Leo Cocky. I didn't have this album. I've got a bunch of his albums, but I didn't have this one. And it's on Christmas Records. And he had Ian and Sylvia's Greatest Hits on Vanguard. And I like these double record Greatest Hits Vanguard put out during the day with this border of stripes or lines on here. And Ian and Sylvia, the great Canadian folk team. And the last thing I got from them was a soundtrack. I like soundtracks. And this is The Wild Angels, one of those motorcycle movies from the 60s, possibly the very early 70s, I'm not sure. But Bruce Dern and Diane Ladd are in this one. Members of the Hells Angels of Venice, California are in this. Peter Fonda and Nancy Sinatra star in this movie. Nobody that really stands out artist-wise performing on here, but it's more about the nostalgia of the old biker movies and Nancy Sinatra, Peter Fonda, and all that. And then I got some records from Adam over at the Record Crate in Raleigh. Ordered them off YouTube. He shows records and you can put in orders. Got a few from him. And this Dobro album on Star Day. Dobro Sounds Going Round. Love the cheesy cover. And it's got Uncle Josh on here, Shot Jacks, Bashful Brother Oswald, Jack House Lineman, and Deacon Brumfield, all performing with the emphasis on the dobro there. And I also got this, it's basically a Red Clay Ramblers record. It's, although not all the members are on this, this is on Flying Fish Records. Meeting in the Air, songs of the Carter family, sung and played by Jim Watson, Mike Craver, and Tommy Thompson, members of the Red Clay Ramblers. That's a really nice album. And then I've got some stuff from discogs that I'll show you. I got one swing album. There's a Count Basie album that's American Armed Forces. I was playing this on another video, I believe, that I did recently. American Armed Forces Radio. Early Sam Bush. This is Poor Richard's Almanac. This is Sam Bush and Alan Mundy and Wayne Stewart. They got together in Kentucky and did this album in 1969 while Alan Mundy was awaiting induction into the Army. I don't think he ever actually had to go to Vietnam, but that's, what everybody held their breath hoping they wouldn't have to go for. And here's a English release, Memphis Jug Band Volume 2 on Roots, 1927 and 1934. And the usual suspects on this album as far as jug band music. From the DC area, from mid-60s, Riverside have always thought of as a jazz label, but they actually had this bluegrass album from the Lonesome Boys raise a ruckus, the exciting bluegrass sound of. Okay? And they're all college students, intellectuals, and with the exception of the fiddler, I believe, who is from the rural South. The rest of these guys were Northeasterners that were, carrying on the folk boom, playing bluegrass music. Okay, and along those same lines, those Northeastern guys forming bluegrass and old time bands. There's the Greenbrier Boys doing the same thing. John, Harold, Bob, Yellen, Ralph Rensler are the main ones, and then Buddy Pennington is on the fiddle and Jack Cook on the bass. This is on Vanguard. We talk about folk music and Folkways records. You really need to talk about Pete Seeger. Okay, Pete Seeger, American Ballads, Folkway Recordings, and no, it's not a gatefold. Just pretty simplistic cover. And then I got a few records that are Fiddlers conventions or folk festival recordings. I remember these days way back from this is the 47th annual Union Grove Old Time Fiddlers Convention, put out by Union Grove Records. There's various artists there. And the folk festival at Newport on Vanguard. And this has got Odetta on here, Joan Baez is on here, New Lost City Ramblers, Barbara Dane, and Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. And David Bromberg Band, a double record. This one's called How Late'll Y'all Play Till. I bet they heard that a lot. How late will y'all play till? The Dirt Band, Nitty Dirt Band, changed their name to the Dirt Band for a while in trying to appeal to a broader audience. This is the American Dream album. Another Ian and Sylvia. This is Nashville, and this is also on Vanguard Records. Some British folk rock, Still I Span, and this one's called Rocket Cottage. A group called Fiddle Fever on Flying Fish Records from 1981. Bluegrass band, pure bluegrass band, Dry Branch Fire Squad is Fanning the Flames, and that is on Rounder. A reissue on Sugar Hill. Go back to California. I'm trying to pick up those California bluegrass bands from the 60s and those New York or Northeastern bluegrass bands from the same period. So groups like Lost City Ramblers, Greenbrier Boys, groups like that. And out on the West Coast, it's a reissue of the Hillman, which is on the mandolin there. Of course, Chris Hillman, who would later go on and play with the Birds. Don Parmley on the banjo, who would go on to form Bluegrass Cardinals, moved from the West Coast to the Northern Virginia area, based his band, the Bluegrass Cardinals, out of there for many, many years till he retired, and his son took over as the leader of that band. And the great country singer and his brother, Vern and Rex Gosden. Vern Gosden will go on and have a lot of success in country music. Great voice there. And also on the West Coast, there are on Crown Records. They made virtually nothing cutting this record. They pay them a few $100 to do it, and they never saw a penny after that. Bluegrass Favorites from the Scottsville Squirrel Barkers. And there is a very young, right there, is a very young Chris Hillman. He was in two different bluegrass bands in California before he joined the Byrds. And finally, a gospel album from the Stanley Brothers. This one's called Uncloudy Day, and it's on County Records. And Bill Clifton and Company on County as well. Played out of the DC area for many years. This album includes Bill Keith and Tom Gray, Red Rector, Charlie Collins, Jim Brock, and Mike Aldridge. So that's an all-star cast in that group as well. And the last one I've got is on a great reissue label called Old Homestead. This is the Hired Hands with Snuffy Jenkins and Pappy Sherrill. Something special. And Snuffy Jenkins lived in the same area as Earl Scruggs, and he predates Earl Scruggs on the banjo. In fact, he was playing a three-finger style on the banjo before Earl, and Earl maybe learned a lot from Snuffy Jenkins, I think, and carried it further and further. So, a lot of folk and old time and bluegrass in that, just a little bit of jazz and a little bit of rock or pop in that mix. All right, everybody, that's a quick look at what I picked up in the month of September. I'll remind everybody, be kind to your neighbors, because you know it, we're all neighbors. Bye.
Is a river of light of light.
Good boy.
There